Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Social Engineering Update webinar. My name is Sherry Branson, and I'm your host today. I'm now joined by Kevin Davis, the president of Kevin Davis Insurance. Good afternoon, Kevin.
Good afternoon. How are you doing, Sherry?
Doing well, thank you. Doing well. Kevin, we have some really exciting news to share with everybody today.
You know what? This is going to be a really exciting webinar because we're finally doing something I wanted to do, and that is to automatically include social engineering on all our client policies. Something that we just weren't able to do because we need applications, nobody understood it. So now, for the first time, we're going to kind of explain what social engineering is so you get a full understanding, and then start adding on these policies.
Great. That's very exciting. So we have a lot of great information to talk about today and share with everybody so they'll understand social engineering a little bit better. And I did want to mention, if you'd like a copy of today's presentation, please send me an email to sbranson@kdins.com. And if you have any questions, you can either email me or give me a call, and we're happy to answer your questions as well. And we also have a chat box on the screen. You can see to the right of your screen where you can type in questions as they pop up, and we can answer them live. So, Kevin, what is our goal today? What do we hope to accomplish?
Okay, what we're going to do today, I'm going to explain what social engineering coverage is and why it definitely should be added on all your client policy. Effective September the 1st, that's what we're going to do. It's going to be included on all our client policies.
Okay, September 1st. Kevin, that's right around the corner.
It's right around the corner. We've got 1 week to figure out how we're going to do that.
Okay, 1 week. Okay. Well, we can do it. We can do it.
I agree. It's something that is so important because it's a growing area of claims, and there's no coverage out there unless we start the ball rolling and saying we're going to start putting this on all our policies.
Absolutely. Okay, September 1st. So this is very exciting. It's very timely, everybody. Again, so if you have any questions, let us know. And now, Kevin, social engineering. What exactly is social engineering fraud? Could you define that for everybody?
Yeah. Sherry, now, let's say that you live in a homeowner association, right?
Yes.
Now, you're the treasurer, okay?
And
I live in your association. Now, you get an email from me saying, Sherry, as treasurer of the association, I waited far too long for repairs done on inside of my unit after the water damage. Please send $5,000 as soon as possible so I can get started on my work.
Okay.
Now, you know the check just came in from the insurance carrier, and so you get the check out to me, or you wire the money directly to my bank. But you wire it, right? Now, what happens? A couple of days later, you see me at the pool, and you ask me how the repairs come along, right?
Right. Sure. Yeah, I would check with you because I sent you the money, and I know you, so I trust you.
But what happened? I said, guess what? I never received any money. I never even sent you an email.
Oh, okay. So that's a shock. That would be shock number one.
And that's what social engineering fraud is.
Okay.
So basically, social engineering fraud is the intentional misleading of an employee through the use of a communication.
Okay.
That's what it is.
Okay. So basically, you tricked me into sending the money. That's what it boils down to.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay.
So social engineering is nothing new. It's not a new concept. And social engineer is nothing more than a con man who now uses technology to get people to disclose their passwords, get personal information, all through the use of a computer.
Okay. So it's been around for a while, Kevin, but now they're using the latest technology to try to get this information from people. And like you said earlier, it usually comes from somebody they know or they trust, right, Kevin?
Exactly. It could be a client, a vendor, another board member, an employee, employer, or even the property manager if you live in a community association.
Okay. So that's kind of scary. It really could come from, they could pretend to be anybody, really. And with an email, how do you know it's really that person or not?
Yeah, the loss comes when you respond to the email and you send funds to the impersonator. That's when it is.
Okay.
Because after that's done, there's no way in the world you can find that money. Especially if you wire transfer the money, it's gone. Even if you send a check, that check is cleared, it's gone. And that's what the problem with social engineering.
Right. It's so anonymous. Somebody's sitting behind a computer. It's very easy for them to trick somebody. And Kevin, what are you seeing as far as like common, social engineering scams that are happening out there? Are you seeing something in particular?
Right now, one of the most effective social engineering scams right now is when a CFO the chief financial officer receives a fraudulent email from someone pretending to be the CEO or the president, inform them that the company is involved in some major transaction and needs money immediately. The money is sent, and then you have a major social engineering crime. That's what it is. As soon as that money is sent,
Okay.
that's, yeah.
Then the crime has been committed.
Yeah, see, these criminals use social engineering tactics because it's easier to get somebody to, or trick somebody and give me information than it is to send wires, to send viruses, and send all kind of things like that. They use what's called phishing, which is the #1 way, or even spear phishing, which is a little more even complicated than phishing is.
Ah, phishing. Okay, and Kevin, now can you explain? Phishing is not F-I-S-H-I-N-G, right? It's spelled differently.
It's the PH.
P-H, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a technical term.
Because the phishing, what they do is they look for information and target an individual. For example, let's go back to your homeowner association. You know the president of your association is in Hawaii, okay?
Okay.
Because you look at Facebook and you're friends with him on Facebook and you say we have a great time in Maui, hope he's going fishing and everything like that.
Okay.
Well, what the engineer does is find that information out, and then he goes after that person and say, guess what? You know, as a treasurer, he's in Hawaii. So you get a fictitious email saying, guess what? I'm in Hawaii, I'm having a great time. However, I need a couple $1,000 because I lost all my money, I lost my wallet. Please send $2,000 immediately. You send it, and guess what happens? Hey, I didn't lose anything.
Ah, okay, okay. So they're basically, these criminals are looking at social media, they're scouring the internet, looking for information, so they have the correct information to really trick people, Kevin.
And it works because of one reason, and that is the message looks like it's from a legitimate source.
Mm-hmm.
When you get an email from me, and you know me, you automatically assume it's from me. You get an email thinking it's from the president, people will respond. And that's the big problem right now. You know, these criminals will copy your email address and they'll change one letter. So instead of Kevin Davis Insurance, they may put 2 N's at the end. They'll misspell something to make it appear legitimate. They'll change the phone numbers on the email, just so if you want to call back and verify, you can call back and verify.
Wow.
You know, and the problem is that most companies, because we're so small, that they don't even know the deception occurred. They don't have any idea until later on down the line, and then it's way too late to do anything about it.
Mm-hmm. So they're getting more and more sophisticated, Kevin.
That's what it is. Mm-hmm. And again, it's such an easy thing to go after that money, and once that money is gone, because we believe those emails, we believe those phone calls, we believe those letters that are coming in, and once we send that money out, it's gone.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I get the emails all the time. I'm sure you do. I get them to change my password, my account number, etc. So I'm sure everybody joining us today has seen those emails. And if you have any questions about anything that we're going over, please send an email, hopefully legitimate, to sbranson@kdins.com, and I'm happy to send you a copy of today's presentation and also answer your questions. And now, Kevin, with all this social engineering fraud going on, what exactly is social engineering fraud coverage?
Okay. This is what we're talking about today. Social engineering fraud coverage will pay for loss from transferring, paying, or delivering funds directly caused by social engineering fraud.
Okay.
So when we talk about a loss, we're talking about 2 things have to occur. 1, the person who's transferring, paying, or delivering funds must be an employee. And 2, it must be a result of social engineering fraud.
Okay.
Okay? Perfect example of this is when as a board member, you decide to pay that vendor, okay?
Okay.
An email sent requesting that your payment be paid immediately because guess what? It's either late or you forgot to pay. Those emails come. Later, after you paid that invoice, you really find out that, guess what? It is a fraudulent email.
Oh.
That's when, as soon as you pay it, that's what happens, okay?
Okay, you find out after the fact.
Yeah, now, what's social engineering fraud again? The intentional misleading of an employee through communication.
Okay, and when you say communication, Kevin, we've been talking about email, but there's other ways of communication that this could occur, correct?
Sure, yeah, you talk about any kind of electronic, you talk about voicemail, you talk about any kind of written instructions. The key, it has to be received by an employee, all right, by an individual pretending to be a vendor, client, employee, or any authorized person.
Okay, so a phone call, like you said, a fax, a voicemail. I mean, there's multiple ways that this con could happen. And now, Kevin, I'm sure a lot of people are wondering, what about property managers? How do they come into play in this situation?
Okay. Well, again, the property manager is an employee under our policy, so we're okay. So if an employee gets a fictitious email, okay, and again, a property manager is considered an employee, then the property manager is okay. Here's an example of what happened. The property manager doing business for homeowner association has a landscape that he sends a payment through wire transfer. Every month he pays the landscape. The property manager received notification from the landscape that the company has changed banks. Okay?
Okay.
The property manager sends a notification to the accounting firm saying, hey, update your system. So they started sending money to the new bank. Within a couple of months, the manager made aware that the landscaper has not received payment in several months. He later discovered that the landscaper's email system had been hacked and payments were never received.
Ah, okay. So it happens to property managers, it happens to board members, it could happen to a treasurer, it really could happen to anybody. So it's very important to make sure that the property manager is covered.
Exactly.
Okay, that's very important. Again, if you have questions about what we're going over, please send an email and I can send you a copy of the presentation. We also put a recording of our webinars on our homepage at kdisonline.com under webinars. You just click on it and you can listen to it again. And now, Kevin, the big question today is, we're going to talk about that it's being automatically, the social engineering fraud coverage is being automatically included. Why are we doing this?
Okay. When we started looking at this thing, there are three problems that we found out dealing with community associations. First of all, social engineers, they love small businesses. Small business like community associations and management companies have systems that are especially vulnerable to social engineering claims because they have easy access to things like email, bank account information, credit card information, employee payroll files. Most small businesses don't even keep access laws or even information. So if things stolen, they probably don't even know.
Right. And I know that a lot of, like you said, small businesses, they don't have the IT protection that the large companies have, right, Kevin?
Yeah. We hear that they don't have spam protection or spyware. And some don't even bother with a firewall at all.
Wow. Okay, so they're very vulnerable.
Mm-hmm. And you got these large corporations that have the best security in place, and guess what? They get hacked. So targeting small businesses are what's going on because it's so much easier and they at least can afford to be hit. Because once they get inside these systems, once these social engineering inside the systems, information can be stolen, systems can be hacked, and corrupted forever.
So it's very, very serious, very, very serious for these small businesses because they can't afford to get hit, like you said.
Exactly. So the second reason we have is that these community associations, they lack experience and expertise to protect their information and their funds.
Okay.
So when we talk about community association, we're talking about these criminals who are after three things. They're after the assessments, reserve account, and vendor payments.
Okay, that makes sense, Kevin.
All right. What they do is that they fool the individuals into handing over confidential or sensitive data. And they do it by creating kind of emotional email or emotional information to help them make them feel comfortable just delivering that kind of information or clicking on a link or something like that. It's the fastest growing area of fraud. It continues to be. Most people have no idea how to deal with these types of fraud, and most people are not even aware of the exposure. That's one of the reasons why we're automatically picking it up right now.
Okay, as of September 1st, we're automatically picking it up. And Kevin, the thing is, these crimes, it's not like having to break into an office. Now, really, anybody with a computer can do it, right?
Exactly. Creating fake websites and email address. Anybody can pretend today to be somebody they are not. This is why community association, okay, not only that to be, look at community association themselves. They're not paid employees at these things.
Right.
They're all volunteers, okay? And they're volunteers whose job is to do one thing, and that is to manage a major corporation. That's their job. But they don't treat it like that. They treat it as a kind of a hobby or a social club where they talk about the latest movie they're reading. It is a business, and they forget that most important part of it.
They're responsible. They're handling people's money, lots of money.
Exactly. And that's the problem right there. if they have a $100,000 unit and they have 100 units in their complex, they are managing a $10 million corporation.
$10 million. So that's a big responsibility on their shoulders. So the more coverage they have protecting the money, just in case a hack does occur, the better off they are.
They have a fiduciary responsibility to protect themselves for these kinds of situations. If they don't protect themselves, they will end up being sued. And then you're talking about a D&O claim.
Okay. Thank you, Kevin. And now the coverage, how affordable is it? And what are we looking for as far as premium goes, et cetera, and limits, Kevin?
Okay, when we talk about the main reason why here is that it's affordable, convenient, and it provides protection. When we're looking at social engineering fraud coverage for community associations, or looking at social engineering period, it is not readily available. I don't know any carrier out there other than us that's really providing this coverage for a community association. And on top of it, many people believe that the coverage is under the crime policy or computer theft policy or wire transfer fraud coverage. Okay? Now, in order to provide the best kind of coverage out there, you need a social engineering fraud endorsement. The good news now is that we're doing is providing coverage for up to $100,000 limit on all our policies automatically.
Oh, okay. That's great. So up to $100,000 automatically. And Tom from Ohio would like to know how much that costs, Kevin. And if you went over $100,000, how would you handle that? Or can you go over $100,000?
Okay, sure. Anything around $100,000 is about $50.
Okay.
Okay. We can go higher than $100,000. We can go up to probably several $1,000,000. But we need an application after that.
Okay.
Anything over $100,000, you need an application. Anything less than $100,000, we can automatically include it. We will bill the insured additional premium. And if they don't want it, okay, if they don't want it, then they let us know you're not interested in it, and then we have to put an endorsement to exclude it.
Ah, okay. So then you have to endorse to exclude it. Okay, so these are very important details that Kevin is mentioning right now. So if you want to go over this again or have any questions about it, please give me a call or send an email. And now, Kevin, are there any special requirements to get this endorsement?
Sure. Okay, so now we can add social engineering coverage, but in order to add social engineering coverage, you must have computer crime coverage on your policy. And remember, computer crime is when a non-employee enters the premises, obtains the password, and uses the password to steal funds.
Okay, so that's a non-employee entering an office, stealing the password, and then embezzling the money or doing a transfer.
Exactly.
Okay, that's computer crime.
Computer crime.
Okay.
And you have to have funds transfer coverage also. And funds transfer coverage applies when that virus is attached to an email where you click on it, and all of a sudden it downloads to your system, and all of a sudden they have access to your passwords and your ID, and money is stolen that way also.
Okay, and that's another vulnerability. A lot of people do click on these emails and download the viruses. It happens every day. You read about it.
So in order to have social engineering, we need to have computer crime and funds transfer. If you don't have those, we cannot add computer crime. We cannot add social engineering. If you don't want social engineering, we have to exclude it by endorsement, because right now there's so much confusion out there in terms of what social engineering, what it's not, and where it should be. The only way to make sense of it is either to give it to you outright or exclude it outright.
That makes sense. Okay. Thank you, Kevin. Yes, these coverages do have a lot of overlapping portions, so it can get confusing for sure with the similar names as well. And now, Kevin, I'm sure a lot of people are wondering who are joining us today, why doesn't a standard crime insurance policy cover social engineering?
Okay. Now, remember, social engineering fraud is the intentional misleading of an employee through the use of a communication. There's currently exclusion on most crime policies, I would say all of them, called the Voluntary Exclusion.
Ah, okay, voluntary parting exclusion. That's a long term. What does that mean, Kevin?
Basically, it means exactly what it says. The voluntary parting exclusion excludes loss resulting from the giving or surrendering of money, security, or other property in exchange for purchase, whether or not fraudulent.
Okay. So this is basically they're voluntarily giving away the money because they think that if I think that Kevin Davis asked me to transfer the money, then I'm just giving it because you've asked, I think you're legitimate.
Exactly. You believe that I've done it.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so that's the difference. That's the big difference in why this coverage is a separate endorsement. Okay.
That one exclusion in the policy makes it impossible for it to be covered under the standard employee dishonesty or the other coverages. But just to kind of go into a little bit more, let's talk about the wire transfer fraud and computer theft fraud. Okay?
Okay.
All right. When you talk about funds transfer fraud, it's the fraudulent transmission of an instrument to a financial institution directing that financial institution to transfer funds from the insured organization's bank account to someone other than the insured without the insured's knowledge or consent.
Okay.
Key words: insured's knowledge or consent.
Okay.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Let me give you an example. The treasurer, our same buddy treasurer, he opened up an email. The email has a virus attached to it. The virus obtains the person's treasurer's ID and password to the association's bank account. Immediately, a fraudulent electronic wire transfer is sent. $100,000 is wired from that bank account to another unknown bank account, probably in the Cayman Islands.
Okay.
That is a fraud transfer. It was done without the treasurer's knowledge or consent.
Ah, okay. Okay. That makes sense.
Now, on computer fraud, it's the use of a computer to fraudulently cause a transfer of money, securities, or other property from inside the insured's premises to a person or place outside the premise, again, without the insured organization knowledge or consent.
Okay. Okay.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'll give you an example. An employee of a vendor utilize association frequently, gain access to the computer, and change the bank routing number from the vendor to an employee's personal bank routing number, causing large sums of money to be transferred directly to the employee instead of the vendor.
Ah, okay.
Same situation we talked about the last year. Okay?
Okay.
Now, this is how it works. The employee comes in masquerading as an IT professional helping to solve a problem, exterminator, or a janitor. They use a USB thumb drive or they attach a piece of equipment onto the server and leave it behind and place a nice note on top saying security, not unplug. No one touches it.
No, because they think their IT person did it, so they're thinking, okay, it's legitimate, right?
Yep. Now they have complete access to all that information.
Wow, that's pretty scary. That sounds a pretty easy way to get access, Kevin. Very, very easy. And now we just talked about computer fraud and funds transfer fraud. Can you get into more details as to how they're different? We talked about the voluntary endorsement, the voluntary exclusion, etc. But and also, how would somebody identify one of these phishing phishing emails?
Okay. All right. Let's talk about the difference between a computer fraud and a funds transfer.
Okay.
A computer fraud and funds transfer, the insured organization funds are transferred without the insured organization's knowledge or consent.
Okay.
That's the word. Insured organization knowledge and consent. The computer fraud happens inside the premises. Funds transfer happens outside the premises.
Okay.
But all done with the insured organization knowledge or consent, without their knowledge or consent.
Okay. They have no idea this is happening, Kevin, right? One is outside and one is inside.
Okay. In social engineering fraud, an employee of the organization is an unknowing active participant in the theft of the insured funds.
Okay.
Okay? They are actually participating in. They decide to give the money away. They have a choice. They can say, no, we're not going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Okay.
Now, one other question came up earlier today from this morning's conversation is about what about cyber coverage? How does that play into it?
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
The difference is this. The difference between cyber coverage and social engineering coverage fraud, we're talking about, one is about information, the other is talking about money. When you talk about theft of money, it is cyber crime. When you talk about theft of information, it is cyber.
Okay. Okay.
Cyber, we have theft of information. That means you have to have notification.
Okay.
Theft of funds, you don't have to notify anybody except for whoever, your insurance carrier, the FBI, or everyone. But it's not have to notify all the individuals. That's the fine line. When we talk about social engineering fraud, it's different than social engineering hacking.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you for clarifying that. And now, how would somebody identify one of these phishing emails? Could you give some tips, Kevin, to people joining
Sure.
us today?
Well, we put together a list of things that you should be concerned about. One of the big ones is incorrect spellings. I mean, I get these from UPSS. You get it from Bank of America with an N at the end.
Right, or BANC, bank.
Exactly, yeah. So whenever you get these emails, look at it first, find it's a legitimate email. Make sure it's spelled correctly. Make sure there's no things missing in there. And if anybody ever requesting personal information, pick up the phone and just find out if it's legitimate or not. You got to find if it's legitimate or not. You have to believe it. The problem is that we get so worked up, we get so busy that we don't usually have the time to do the kind of research that we should be doing.
Yeah, we're overloaded with emails, and we may just quickly click on the link, and then it's too late. But if it looks suspicious, Kevin, you should definitely check it out, right? Pick up the phone and make a phone call. Mm-hmm. And we do have a chart up on the screen which gives you more details and how to if you have a suspicious email, what to look for, maybe to stop a little bit, hesitate, check it out. And I can send you this presentation afterwards, and you can ask more questions if you have other questions as well. Right. Now, Kevin, what are the main points that people should take away today from the presentation? What should they be thinking about when it comes to social engineering and coverage?
Okay, well, when we talk about social engineering, remember, it's the intentional misleading of an employee, something that can happen to any of us. It happens all the time. We get emails all the time. We get busy all the time. And coverage is very, very important. We are right now making it effective. If you need it, you have any questions, let us know. It is right now probably one of the most important coverages out there because as technology gets stronger and bigger, people will find more and more easy ways to con you out of your information, either for money information or just for plain information itself. So we're adding it to the policy. Talk to your underwriters if you have any questions about it. They are knowledgeable. They're fully knowledgeable, but it's not that complicated. Social engineering fraud is intentional misleading of an employee. You get that information that way, it is a claim under this policy.
Mm-hmm.
Without the knowledge and consent is crime, is computer theft. Without the knowledge or consent is fraud transfer. But with the knowledge, social engineering.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you for clarifying that, and thank you for all the great information. And I just want to mention again that we put a recorded copy of the webinar on our website at kdisonline.com where you can listen to it again. And if you'd like a copy of the PowerPoint, please send me an email to sbranson@kdins.com. Thank you for joining us, everybody, and please join me on September 22nd as we talk about top D&O claims with my special guest, Rachel Zak. Thank you. Have a great afternoon.